that's not really crystal clear when people are getting into investing. A lot of people just see HGTV or they see our post of, the beginning when it's distressed and then the outcome of it. But I've had in every single deal something come up where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm probably going to lose on this deal.
Welcome back to the CashFlow podcast. I'm your host, Jayson Yoss, and today I have my special guest, Michelle Stevenson. Michelle, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Michelle, there's tons for us to dive into, but before we get started, I want to thank our sponsors. First of all, Daniel's Plumbing, covering San Diego, LA, Orange County, and all of the Inland Empire. And then Rainforest, Plumbing, Heating, and Air. They're covering Phoenix and all of Maricopa County. We couldn't do it without them. Thank you, guys. And Michelle. Okay, so let's dive in. I'm so excited to have you on.
I'm so excited to be here.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit before coming on. I've kind of watched your live streams. We got amazing backstory. So I kind of want to dive in. Licensed realtor, but also developer, flipper. Talk to me how you got started.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've been a licensed realtor for 6 years. And when I got into it, I was at a boutique brokerage. It was a little small mom and pop.
Right.
And I met another lady there that was about my age. And she was getting into fixing and flipping. It was her first one. So I just was alongside her the whole time. And I saw a whole different perspective of real estate. And I was like, you know what? This is for me.
But why fixing and flipping? I mean, you could be doing multi-million-dollar listings. You could be doing Tom and Susie's first home. Like, what about the fix and flip kind of caught your eye?
You know what? So when I first was in real estate, that was my goal. I was like, okay, I see $1 million listing. That's
Selling
me.
Sunset was
the
really
great
big.
outfits, all that stuff.
By the way, you look amazing. So outfit, you got that part down.
Thank you. But I think seeing the process from start to finish and being able to apply your own vision and the transformation is what really captured my attention. And to be able to not just sell somebody their home, their forever space, but to create it gives you a different type of excitement. And yeah, so I just shadowed her for a couple years, and then I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to dive in.
As far as, shadowing her, let's talk about mentorship. I mean, was she the one you look up to? Did you have a mentor that you were solely focused on? How did you get that, kind of guidance as you were getting into the space?
Yeah, she definitely became my mentor. There was nobody else that I was so fresh in the industry, I didn't know anybody else.
Right.
And I didn't know where to find these people. I didn't know and there's a lot of people that are in the industry but don't have the experience or are portraying an image and it's not the reality of it.
That's huge in our industry right now. A lot of people faking it that aren't what they say.
Yeah, and just because they have a great social media page, that doesn't mean that they're actually performing. It's just bits and pieces of their life. So to actually be side by side her and actually seeing, oh, she's actually in this space. She's actually transforming these properties. She's actually investing her own capital.
Right.
I knew I could take advice from her and grow and learn. And so
I think that's a great perspective, but I also see you now in the networking space quite a bit. How do you leverage you're everywhere all the time. How are you leveraging networking to also grow your skill set?
I think that who you surround yourself with is the most important thing. Yeah. And I pride myself on connections and building relationships. And by me getting uncomfortable, going to events by myself and just socializing with people, I actually created a great circle of people that I look up to that I could call if I need anything.
That's awesome.
And they don't even know that they're my coaches. I call them my coaches because if something happens, I just pick up the phone and I'm like, this just came up. And in the investment side, there's always something new that we're going to learn. So
that's an everyday phone call.
And
it's so organic the way you describe it. It's not like we're setting aside an hour to get on and go through some curriculum. It's like, look, I'm in a flip or I'm in a development process. This is going on. What would you do? Can you help me through the spot? Yeah. That's a great relationship.
Exactly. And being able to offer them stuff back in return, I don't expect anything from them. They don't expect anything from me. It's genuine relationships and
Giver's gain.
Exactly.
Talk about when you're doing these developments or these real estate deals, do you have a certain philosophy that guides you in your transaction?
I don't know if it's necessarily like a philosophy. I think every deal that I do is different. I have like obviously my buy box and where I like to be along. But it's more so I'm a big intuitive kind of gal. So if it feels right and my numbers align, like I just go for it. Yeah, that's like really worked for me.
Gripping and ripping is a huge part because so many people have paralysis by analysis. They're afraid to take that first step. So it's refreshing to see like, look, I have a buy box. I have an area that I'm looking at. But if I feel it and it looks right, I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Too many people not going for
and
it.
I'm a big risk taker. I'm a big risk taker.
Going to
I'm like,
Vegas
you know
with
what?
Michelle.
Yeah. All or nothing, go for it. But that's how, one, you learn. You learn by taking risk. And if it doesn't work out, it's like, okay, big learning opportunity. But I think for philosophy, there's a lot of people, I find a lot of my properties on market. And a lot of investors are like, there's not a spread there. There's not a deal there. I mean, I beg to differ in my experience. But again, if a wholesaler brings me something or if I get an off market, I'm open to all areas of it. I don't shut any of those opportunities out.
Right.
And so
that makes sense. Let's talk about some deals and let's talk about some case studies. One that you had brought up to me that I thought was kind of special. You talked to me about a Crown Point deal.
Yes.
You want to dive into that a little bit, tell the audience kind of about how that deal came about and what was so special about that.
That one was probably one of my biggest deals. And it wasn't in the sense of the return, but it was a timeline of everything. So I found that property. It was an off market. I found it in Crown Point, got it for, to get into numbers, $900,000.
Got it.
And when I was in escrow, I got hit with knowing that there was an acquisition fee of like $95,000.
Really? So you got it from a wholesaler or something?
Yeah,
like
and
that?
they didn't disclose that to me when I was like negotiating the price. And I was like, damn, that's really expensive. And I was going to have to cover it.
Right.
But it's still aligned with the numbers that I had. So I was like, you know what? Let's go for it. All good. It was about 890 square feet. So I'm like, this is going to be a quick turnaround.
Right.
Let's get in, get out. We were in renovations, which the renovation costs were probably $100,000. We were in it for about 6 weeks, and the agent that got the deal called me and was like, hey, I think I have a buyer for you.
Wow.
I'm like, bring him in. Let him check it out. Let's see if it works. They loved it. So we were like, they're like, all cash. We're going to buy it all cash. My ARV, I was looking at ARVs. I was like, it's probably 1.35. They were like, we'll do all cash 1.31. I'm like, I'm not going to be greedy. We're still under, construction here. Let's take it.
Wow.
And
so you hadn't even made it back to market yet. You were still doing the reno.
Yeah, like middle of the renovation. And the greatest thing is they weren't even trying to change anything. They fully trusted me with the design. They weren't trying to come in and be like, you know what, let's change the tile, let's change the light fixtures.
Got it.
They just let me run with it, which is great. And we were like, okay, we'll do a close of escrow 1 week after the construction is finished, just so they could do their inspections.
Right.
They closed.
Wow.
And it was a total of 8 weeks. 8 weeks and made about $90K.
Wow.
So I'm like, it wasn't the largest return that I've had, but I mean, if you analyze it by maybe the weeks of that much money that I've made, it was.
Sure.
And to not go to market or anything, it was exciting.
What do you think about that deal made the stars align? Like, what was it? Was it where it was? Was it the type of project that it was? Like, what made it so? Or was it just the market in general? Like, hey, it's 2021, and it was just like I could throw something out.
No, and you know what? This wasn't even in 2021.
Right.
This was literally last year.
Wow.
So this was last year when the market was, when rates were jumped.
Yeah.
So it was a blessing. It was a cash buyer. I'm like, okay, I'll run with it, right? But I love coastal. I currently live near Sail Bay and Crown Point.
Okay.
So to find a deal near Crown Point, I know that area.
It was your backyard.
I know that market.
Yeah, you knew that one well.
Yeah. And, when you get really close to the water and that price point of home, buyers aren't as affected by like 1% interest rate or anything like that.
Right.
So for me, I was like, let's take it. Like it's a done deal.
Makes
and
sense.
yeah.
Well,
so
that's a good one. Let's maybe shift, go the other way. What's a deal that maybe was maybe had some hair on it, or maybe a learning lesson? And I know because they're not all home runs, and I think a lot of people need to understand that, especially breaking into space. Like they see you, they see these wins, and you're like, hey, there's somewhere I had to learn. Do you have any like that specifically?
I mean, I think in every single deal, there's a big learning opportunity, and I think that's a big. That's not really crystal clear when people are getting into investing. A lot of people just see HGTV, or they see our post of, the beginning when it's distressed and then the outcome of it. But I've had in every single deal something come up where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm probably going to lose on this deal. Maybe it's because I didn't do the proper foundation inspection, or the cast iron plumbing was a complete disaster. But the one deal that stands out for me the most was actually one, it was last year as well. And it was in Bay Park, so family neighborhood, had a steep driveway. And in Bay Park, they're using their garages. They're using their driveways. And I didn't communicate clearly to my concrete guy to shave it down. And he laid the concrete. It was beautiful. And when we were doing showings, a buyer was interested, submitted an offer. It's like, I'm going to go up this driveway. Oh, their car got... It was so bad. And no car could make it up that driveway. No car could make it up the driveway.
And it's not something that you realize in the deal, because I'm assuming you never parked in the
driveway.
I never parked in the driveway, by the way.
I leave it for the workers, and I just leave it open. I just pull up to the front and I just walk up. And I never thought about that. I've never thought about, that situation.
And their BMW Mercedes going up, just a whole bumper pulled off, and needless to say, they're like, maybe this wasn't for me.
Yeah. I mean, I got a buyer for it. I didn't lose money on that deal. I made maybe like $5,000. It was not, and I think I was in that property for like almost 5 months. So to make $5,000 in that short of time frame, it's a loss. My time was, but I had a lot of learning lessons. I took a lot from that, and I think that's more valuable sometimes than the return. That
makes a lot of sense. And it's not like every day you hear about, hey, check the steepness of the driveway, and by the way, it might not be that big of a deal to shave it down.
No. And it could have been a super easy fix if I would have caught that before. So lesson learned.
Exactly. Let's talk about one final deal, maybe something that you have currently going, or let's talk about your first deal. Well, how about that? Tell me about that first one we talked about, how you got in, and that the gal that you were working with. Tell me about your first deal.
Yeah, my first deal. Wow. It was in Point Loma.
Okay.
And got it for 1.3. And spent about 135 on renovations and sold it for 1.75. Ended up making about 169,000 on that deal.
Wow.
It was my first deal. So to have that return, it definitely set the bar extremely high. I was like, I got a taste of it. And I was like, I'm going in.
This is it.
But the most important thing in that deal for me was the risk, because I fronted my capital on it.
Talk about that. Talk about what it's like to actually put your own skin in the game versus maybe now, after having a couple of deals under your belt, you have some flexibility. You have people who want to invest with you. You have partners. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. I think it was the most challenging. It was the most challenging because that was a lot of money that I worked hard for a long time.
Yeah.
But for me, I knew that I had a greater vision at that time where I wanted to get capital partners in the rest of my deals.
Sure.
But in order for me to do that, I was like, who's going to invest in me if I can't have that same emotional tie to the risk?
Right.
And so by putting my own capital into it, the anxiety and the emotional toll that it took on me through that deal, I feel like made me... Now when I talk to the capital partners that I have more compassion, I have more empathy, because now I understand what they're doing, putting that money in to an investment, and they're not there through the process. They don't know what property I'm getting until I get it. They're not even there on the construction site. They're literally putting all their trust in me.
Right.
So I feel like by me being able to do that allows them to, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand
what it's like to put your money on the line.
Yeah.
Is it easier now as well to ask for money now that you've been in that space? Look, I know what it's like to have, $1.5 million hanging over your head. If you don't make it work, I'm going to have to come out of pocket. Yeah. So is it easier now to approach an investor?
Yeah, I think it's easier. It's easier definitely to have the conversation. And it's I get a lot of my investments from family, friends, because they see what I'm doing.
Yep.
And they're curious. So it definitely opens a door, and they know my journey. They know what I've been through. And so it is easier to have those conversations. And
people sometimes that don't know discount BFP, BFF. bank of parents, bank of friends and family. Like they
Yeah.
really do.
Totally.
But they're such an instrumental resource because A, they know who you are.
Yeah.
They know if you're worth giving money to or not, if you're trustworthy or if it's worth taking the risk.
Yeah.
And once you've got some credibility, you'll find that people do want to come out of the woodwork, and the first people are usually family and friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people have money.
Yeah.
But they don't talk about it. A lot of,
Right.
the family and friends that have invested with me, I never would have thought that they'd had that kind of money in their bank account,
Extra
right?
500 grand around for you to go ahead and get a loan and then do construction and then close out.
Yeah, exactly. But
That's
also
great.
too, when I got into my first deal, the hard, because I did do hard money lender, so I funded the down payment, all the construction costs and everything.
Yep.
I wasn't even aware at that time when I got started. I knew enough to do a flip on my own from the start to finish as far as the construction and what it includes, but the back end of it, as far as the loan and the lender, I didn't know anything about that. So the girl that I was shadowing, she gave me some insight, but there was things that she would never share with me.
Right.
And the money aspect of it was that. And I didn't even know that I could get a construction loan. And I didn't even know what a draw was. And at that time, my lender didn't even offer that.
Right.
So as I started to get experience and lenders started to reach out to me, they were like, oh, do you want to do like a construction loan? I'm like, what is that?
You mean less money out of my
What do you
pocket? Yes,
mean
of
I
course.
could do
Please,
that?
by all means.
Yeah, exactly. So, it was actually like my first 2 deals that I was fronting up a lot of the money. So
Other than the money and making money and being successful, what are you like? What drives you? Like, what do you love about doing this? And I know that's kind of out of nowhere, but you have such passion when you talk, Michelle, about the deals that you've done. We just talked about 3 deals, and it's just like you beam. So I just want to know, other than cash and checks, of course, like what is it?
I mean, the return, the cash, that's great, but I think doing something that you're passionate about matters more.
Right.
And there's a constant challenge in this industry, and I love being challenged, and I love learning more. I love learning a lot.
Right.
And so I'm constantly challenged, and there's always new opportunities, and I want to grow and do more. So like I started doing the fix and flips, and I've mastered it. I've been able to get capital partners on that, and now I'm like, what can I do now? And it's development. And in real estate, there's so many different realms of it, right? There's so many different routes that you could go. You're never going to learn it all. And so now I'm like, okay, I know how to do the interior design of a home. Now I want to build one. I want to build it from the ground up. So how do I do that? I don't have a clue, to be honest.
That's a great answer right there.
Yeah, I'm going to figure it out as I go. I have mentors that I've looked up to that are in that space that are going to be by my side. And I've trained my mindset to know like, okay, I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to fail, but that's going to be a learning lesson for me. And it's going to be a growth opportunity. So if I could just keep applying that every time, like the sky's the limit.
Absolutely. And talking about specifically, what are you seeing from your perspective? Biggest challenges in today's market when it comes to doing a fix and flip or being a real estate investor in general in developments or fix and flips?
I mean, I think like what everyone is saying right now is interest rates. That's the biggest challenge is interest rates and the market shifting. And yes, that's obviously something to look at. But I think while that's happening, it's giving me the opportunity to get more creative in that space of what I'm doing for my designs.
Nice.
And sticking out in different ways, whether it's like the fixtures that I do, the interior, the exterior. And that's challenging because I'm not an interior designer. Right,
by trade.
I'm not at all by trade. And so it does give me anxiety. I'm on Pinterest sometimes till midnight and I'm like, what am I going to do here? But that's a challenge in itself, is having to, maneuver in markets like this to find a way to stand out differently than others, where it's not standing out too much to where the house is like not appealing to
the masses, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's not my home.
Right.
So what I would want in my house, the vision I have for my home, isn't what all these other home buyers have. So still trying to stay neutral.
It's a great mentality. And again, look, the gray and white flip that is 90% of you see in the market. It's like, blah, okay, that's everybody's
Subway
apartment.
tile,
oh my gosh.
white.
So you got to stand out, especially when it matters. Buyers have choices now.
Yeah.
And if you want your property to move, you need some character to it for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I want to get in the Last question, the DeLorean. Okay, I want to get you into the time machine and go back and talk to baby Michelle. What wisdom are you imparting on her if you were to go back when you were first starting the journey in real estate?
I mean, if I'm speaking to younger Michelle specifically, younger Michelle was really prideful. Was very prideful. So I think I would tell her, ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness.
Right.
It's actually a sign of strength that you can, be vulnerable. Asking for help is vulnerable. And so being able to do that, I would encourage her to do that. And again, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fail, but take a step back and understand that those are growth opportunities for you.
Putting that stuff in perspective, especially failure. Sometimes people internalize that and think, oh, I can't do this, or they beat themselves up.
Yeah.
When everybody we know has a fail story, has a, that one didn't work out. Let me brush myself off and get back going.
Yeah.
Yeah, great insight.
Yeah. But, and as I'm talking to you, I think one other thing too that I could add to that is only take advice from people that have walked through the fire.
Yeah.
Because if they haven't walked through the fire, they can't give you the actual guidance. You could read books.
Sure.
We could all read books. We could all get a lot of knowledge from books. But have you actually had that experience to where your advice is actually honest and truthful,
Something you said earlier, like when your money's on the line, let's see how you perform.
Yeah.
And what you took away from that, that's worth sharing. Other than like, well, I saw so-and-so do it and this is how you should do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Michelle.
Exactly.
I love it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing.
I'm honored to be here.
It's awesome. Everybody else, thank you for tuning in to the CashFlow podcast, the podcast where we talk about turning properties into profits. We'll see you next week. Thank you.